Hello everyone, welcome to the Scumdog's Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Corner mini-episode, today I have a couple of startling stories to read to you all today. Both are very interesting. One, this man encountered this, Cyclopean Bigfoot-like creature, and another, an alien-eyed woman was seen in a mall. We'll read both of them. We'll start off with the first article, Cyclopean Visitor in Digistan, a father's midnight battle with an unknown one-eyed entity. Either way, let's get into this article by reading the opening and hearing the full account. In 1990, a respected family man in Mekshakala, Tajikistan, came face to face with a terrifying fur-covered humanoid with a single glowing eye. Was this a hallucination or proof that entities beyond our comprehension can manifest in the dead of night, targeting families in their most vulnerable moments? This incident took place in Mekshakala, Dagestan Republic, North Caucasus, Russia, in the spring of 1990, around midnight. The witness, referred to as M, is described as a sober-minded and respected individual. Upon returning home, he noticed a strange bright green coin-like circle hovering in the air. The refrigerator, initially he thought it was a portable flashlight that his wife had accidentally left on, but when he asked her about it, she denied it. M looked at the green light again and observed that it appeared to be increasing in size and becoming more intense. Suddenly, the object began to move through the air, making circular movements as it flew around him in a complicated trajectory. He felt heat emanating from the light and also heard a whistling sound that I would imagine at this point would totally have terrified this man, folks. But what about his wife? Didn't she notice any of this? We'll just have to wonder about that as we read through the article about what she did, as she was probably watching her husband basically deal with this weird phenomena. Either way, from the sound of it, it sounds like this is possibly maybe an alien encounter, because this entity was using some sort of, I guess, maybe drone to fly around this man's home? Either way, I'm just guessing at this. Let's continue with the article. The green light then expanded and transformed into a human-like head. M thought he was going crazy, so he turned his face to the wall and began to pray to Allah. However, when he looked back over his shoulder, the image was still there. It had now transformed into a humanoid shape, complete with arms, legs, and a body covered in dense fur, similar to that of an ape. The creature appeared to be Cyclopean, with a single eye in the middle of its forehead that emitted a red beam of light akin to that of a flashlight. It had no neck, and its head was set squarely on powerful shoulders. The entity was over 2 meters tall and appeared very muscular. So, around 6 feet, I would guess, folks, because at basically 3 meters, it would probably be around 7 to 8 feet tall. So, this thing was, while human-sized, was still basically pretty damn big, folks. So, yeah, this man was probably completely terrified at this point at whatever this entity was. But was it some sort of hallucination, perhaps? We've talked about before, folks, that drugs can bring on such effects in people. So I have to wonder, folks, if this is what this, entity was. But what about this man and his wife? We have to ask again, folks, what did she make of this, if at all she's mentioned in this article again? Either way, let's continue. The creature began to float just above the floor and moved toward where M's children were sleeping. In a panic, M rushed ahead of the entity to protect his children, covering them with his body. At this point, he prayed again, asking Allah to save him and his children from the hairy monster. The entity floated towards the bed, briefly picked up M and his children, and then dropped them back down onto the bed without causing any harm. After this, the creature stepped back as M remained protectively covering his children. Now, facing the strange entity, the humanoid stood motionless at a distance from the bed and made no threatening moves. Trembling in fear, M hid his head under the bed sheets and continued to pray fervently. Soon, he heard creaking doors followed by a loud slamming sound, which startled M's wife and confirmed his story. She emphasized that he had never experienced any hallucinations after the encounter. M worried about the creature returning to abduct him and his children, prompting the family to move to another apartment ultimately. So, what was this particular encounter, folks? Was it really some sort of paranormal encounter, or was it an alien encounter? The source of this information comes from Axley K. Prema, UFO Witnesses to the Unknown, Moscow, 1997. And I have to ask, folks, was this perhaps an encounter with maybe the jinn? Because this creature was a cyclops, and that could be a form that a jinn could take. Or maybe this was an encounter with some sort of alien entity. I just don't know, but it certainly was very intriguing. Let's move on to the next article. Gliding woman with alien eyes, a shopping mall encounter that defies explanation, and here yet another remarkable account with an inhuman entity. So, let's get into this article now. and read the opening. The witness was captivated by a mysterious woman who seemed to glide above the floor, her pale gray irises and elongated pupils unlike anything human. But when strange dreams of alien ships and beings began to follow, the question remained, was this woman a passerby or something not of this world? While working in a shopping center, the witness noticed a woman who exuded a peculiar presence. As she observed the woman, it appeared as though she glided above the floor. The woman approached the witness's desk, and the witness couldn't help but notice her pale gray irises and elongated pupils, which were unlike the typical round shape. Mesmerized by the woman's eyes, the witness found herself unable to recall the question she had been asked or her response. She thought to herself, "What planet are you from?" Suddenly the woman moved away and disappeared. Interesting, isn't it, folks? This woman, unlike other stories we've heard about alien beings or encounters with the black-eyed woman, didn't wear glasses and didn't seem to worry about anyone else but this woman noticing her. And her eyes were not like the typical black of such encounters. No, they were definitely alien. But were they real? Or was she wearing some sort of decorative contact lenses? Because that is something that I've seen before, folks. Once, years ago, I saw a man wearing, contact lenses that made his eyes look like cat eyes. So the fact that this one was wearing, or basically had such abnormal eyes, isn't that much of a stretch to imagine that she was wearing contact lenses. And our witness here was just jumping to conclusions. It is an easy idea to basically reason out. But maybe the fact that this woman had more peculiarities than just odd eyes, that she simply was floating or basically not above, or basically on the floor. Because if she were floating above it, certainly more people would have noticed. But she was floating, apparently, as the witness said, and it gave off an air of unusualness that made this woman particularly noticeable to the witness. Either way, all I can say, folks, is whatever this was, it certainly was strange. But that's only part of the article, folks. More was to come. So let's continue and hear exactly what happened next. The witness described the strange woman as having unstyled hair that reached her ears, relatively straight, and a mousy brown color. She wore a cardigan fashioned up to the top bottom, and her dress appeared to hang on her. The woman seemed to be dressed out of sync with modern fashion, resembling a style from a century earlier. She carried an old-fashioned handbag on her arm. The witness also stated that she had experienced strange dreams in which she found herself disembarking from a ship and meeting a young man around 20 years old. He had tight, curly hair, plaid trousers, and a very snug-fitting jumper. She accompanied the young man on a dinghy, sailing to another floating craft. On top of the craft, she saw a gray alien who appeared to be steering it, wearing a tight-fitting gray suit with an emblem on one side. Inside the craft, she observed people walking around with transparent walls and thought these individuals were workers. So, very strange, folks. Were these dreams not dreams? Were they real encounters that this woman had with these alien beings? And perhaps this woman with the unusual eyes, the truly alien ones, who seemed to basically also to glide across the floor, was maybe a harbinger of these experiences yet to come? Or were they all just dreams, and this woman just jumped to conclusions about this woman, that she wasn't actually gliding across the floor, that she was just wearing contact lenses, and that this woman was just an ordinary woman, perhaps a punker, and nothing less. But what was with her dress as well, folks? Remember, H said that this woman was wearing clothes a century out of date, which is something we've seen with other encounters with cryptoterrestrials and occasionally with UFO lore as well, folks. Almost as if these entities are just a step or basically a bit out of time. Or maybe the information they have on mankind is out of date and they dress in the way that they think humans still dress as. We don't know. We've heard about such stories before. And what about the first story, folks, with this Cyclopean entity? Does it also have the same kind of air of mysteriousness as this story? It certainly does. Either way, we're now at the end. So please go subscribe to my YouTube channel, Read Comics That Are Bad For You. You can use the YouTube link down below in the description so the chat to go subscribe to me. Hit that like button for me. Make sure you're still subscribed. Leave some comments down below. Hit that bell for notifications. Hit the part of the bell that'll give you all future notifications, and please share this video out. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video, so be sure to come back again then. Till next time, folks, I'll see you all again soon.